Yeah, so I like having these videos that we showed that because you broke down a good one with one of those shitcoin scams that this guy made an apology.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so a buddy of mine, Jimmy Dore, has I just watched his channel. I don't know if you heard the news about the governor of California. I live in LA. So Gavin Newsrom, I guess, like disappeared for 10 days. Like he got his booster and he was out of sight for 10 days straight. And everybody's like, oh, where is he? And you know, I don't know what if it has anything to do with a booster or anything. I'm not saying that, but it is like probably bad optics, I would say. If you're trying to make people not nervous, because people are going to be watching that. Yeah. And then he came back out after 10 days, and his reason for being gone was he's supposed to go to some climate summit or something. And but he says it's because his kids were like, hey, you can't go, like, you're gonna miss Halloween. And yeah, that's his excuse. You know, I think every parent knows that's like, to not be able to miss Halloween. I've never even heard of, I mean, what a bizarre, I was gonna make a joke about it, like, oh yeah, he had to make sure the kids had a great Halloween, I guess. And then that is what he said. That is what they said. You're gonna miss Halloween. Anyway, he did a press conference or something that Jimmy showed on his show that I sent to Mike here to show, because this is, I don't think it would take a body language expert to be like, something's off here, but maybe I'm just wrong and putting my own prejudice against him because he looks like American Psycho. So wait, will you play that, Bobby? I mean, not Bobby, Jesus, Mike. Sorry.
You since October 7th.
Okay, and you could fast forward it a little bit, Mikey.
Disproportionate amount of time with the challenge of having a spouse, battling recalls, crisis to crisis. It was spending time with her and the kids, and we put out a statement accordingly.
Do you think that this has changed the way you think about the way that information gets out in this social media age? And sometimes when there's a lack of information, what happens? Has it changed the way you think about communicating at all?
I don't know. I was sort of bewildered. I drove into the office every single day, into the Capitol, walked the halls of the Capitol with my kids, spending time with my team quite literally every single day in my office. And I didn't see a lot of other folks. And then I started seeing some things bubble up on social media. Where's the governor? I'm like, wait a second. I'm at work. I'm doing work. I'm doing budgets. I'm doing work on port. We put out a number of statements about the work we were doing last week. So I don't know. I think what we're experiencing is remarkable mis- and disinformation campaigns that are going on across the spectrum in this country. I think this notion of vaccination misinformation is pretty well defined and documented, and it's alive and well in this case. It's just rather...
Let's stop right there for a second. He's doing what's called chaff and redirect, where he's not answering the question. He's going on to something else. Chaff is where you see those big planes going by, and they start dropping all that stuff out the back, so the missiles will go to those instead of hit the plane. Right. And then when that happens and they redirect, they go somewhere. So we're seeing chaff and redirect here. Greg Hartley's the one that coined that phrase. And that's what's happening here. He's not answering the question. His chin is up a little bit. He's a little bit cocky here. And he's I don't know anything about the California leadership over there and the governor and all that, but my guess would be this is a pretty bad leader at this point. Not much leadership, because it seems all about him. It's all internal, what he's talking about. He's really not... His whole thing is about him. The chin is up. That indicates that he's being a little narcissistic at this point.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this guy is notorious. He used to be the mayor of San Francisco. I think he had I think he's the one that had the great innovation to just shovel all the homeless into this one section that became some living hell nightmare. Like, he's awful, and then he's like a handsome dude, so that's how he gets elected. But with this one thing, does he seem... when he's like, I'm in the office with my working, I didn't even realize. Yeah, you know,
this is pretty serious. So his approach to this, it maybe it's just shitty leadership, but he should be serious and saying, here's what's going on. People want to know, and they're afraid. They don't know what this thing is. I mean, everybody's has their own opinion on what COVID is. Nobody knows what the hell this thing is. And he's laughing about it. Oh, you know, I was working. Nobody was there. So in other words, nobody saw me. Nobody could have seen me because nobody was there, but people are asking where I am, but I'm there. Ha ha ha. That's just another way of adding qualifiers to what he just said. He said he was there, and then he starts all this other stuff up, and he starts qualifying the things that make it look and sound more believable that he was there for that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, no need to do that.
Yeah, he's going to get into saying that somehow it's like Trump or something. But all right, press play, Mike.
It's just rather extraordinary. And so I think it's a good question. I think it's a question for all of us, a question in your industry. It's a question in mine and in whatever professional endeavor, how we push back against lies, misinformation, intentional and otherwise. And it's hard. It's a fire hose. And if you want to go down that rabbit hole of conspiracies, the like, it's a challenge. And that's nothing to do with the governor's office. It's much more profound than that, all across.
Okay, stop right there. He's already putting the blame and the reasoning somewhere else that has nothing to do with him. It's not the governor's office. It's about everybody else, what everybody else thinks. This is totally. I wouldn't believe this guy for a second so far.
What's hard, Scott, is I'm like, he's already an oily dude. Like, so I'm like, it's hard to tell what's just his basic, I guess, his baseline scumbag and what's but it just seems like a fishy thing to me if you were aware that this misinformation is going around about you. Especially when the vaccine's so important, you just said, you would probably just videotape, hey, I'm here, it's okay, you don't have to be crazy, But like, I mean, somebody who works for him should be fired for that, just for like, All right.
Bad leadership.
It's much more profound than that all across this country. Obviously, we're seeing misinformation weaponized, notably from former President of the United States, the perpetuation of the big lie, and how
hang on right there.
Jaw-dropping.
Right there. You're right. You nailed that. Yeah, see how he's grabbing the podium or the lectern and he's holding on right there because he's got to have a little confidence to be saying all this. He may believe it, and whether it's true or not, who knows. But even that look on his face right there, that's a painful. That looks like pain. I mean, if you were to start looking at micro expressions and stop things, that's a look of pain. He's got his eyes, his glabella. That's what this little area here is called. Yeah. And that's been drawn in, and he's got his mouth back like that, so it looks like pain that he's saying. He doesn't. It hurts him to say it's because when you lie, your brain has to do three things. It has to, number one, it has to keep you from lying. Once it says, okay, I'm going to give an answer, it says, wait a minute, man, don't tell the truth, you got to tell a lie. So then it has to make the lie up. Then once it makes the lie up, it has to deliver the lie. And you see most of the action in the delivery of the lie. And that's what we're seeing here. And his face is doing what's called leaking, and leaking the pain of lying. He knows this is, I would be under the impression he thinks this isn't true, or doesn't believe what he's saying, because he's shifting the blame again somewhere else, to somebody else. So that's, I don't know, there's a lot going on. I can see why you want to watch this. Is goofy.
Okay, so Travis Scott, the video you do have.
Yeah.
Travis Scott, who I'm vaguely familiar with because I'm old.
I didn't know who he was. I had no idea who this guy was.
I guess
we just did him on the behavior panel. Yeah. I had no.
It's supposed to be like trap rap or something, or it sounds like SoundCloud bullshit to me. Like, I don't understand. Yeah. I never thought I'd be at this point, because I remember being a kid and adults being like, hip hop's not music. And then, you're like, well, there's the thing they are doing. And now I'm like, that's not what hip hop is. Like, you just, so he makes this garbage, as far as I'm concerned. It sucks. But I guess people got trampled at his show.
Yeah, man. Like, I think 9 people have died at this point. Yeah.
And the video is pretty horrific, where you can see, like, that's my big phobia is being packed in like that.
Oh, really?
And people couldn't move. They're just you're just part of this mass that you go where the crowd goes. It looked like a nightmare. And then you're hearing Travis Scott on top of it. So that's probably hellish. This video that you have is of Travis, or of who?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's of Travis, and it's his it's a video of him telling about what he thinks about what happened, I guess. He's sort of saying, it's horrible. I didn't know it was going to happen. I feel bad about it, all those kind of things. So we can watch it, and then we'll talk about it if you want.
To the ones that was lost last night, we're actually working right now to identify the families so we can help assist them through this tough time. My fans really mean the world to me, and I always just really want to leave them with a positive experience. And anytime I can make out anything that's going on, I stop the show and, help them get the help they need, I could just never imagine the severity of the situation. We've been working closely with everyone to just try to get to the bottom of this. The city of Houston, HPD, fire department, everyone help us figure this out. So if you have any information, please just contact your local authorities. Everybody continue to just keep your prayers. I mean, I'm honestly just devastated, and I could never imagine anything like this just happening. I'm gonna do everything I can to keep you guys updated and just keep you guys informed on what's going on. Love you all.
So what did you get from that?
It's a lot about him. He says I 8 times. He says we I think 3 times. And it's just, and he mentions the people who got hurt, I think twice, or the people who got killed twice. It seems like, again, this is one of those things where we see a narcissistic personality telling what he thinks, how he feels about something. Who gives a shit how he feels about something? If they ask him to go on, you can tell he's been told not to say some things. He's been told to say this, this, and this, and he covers those bases. And once he gets his bases covered, he keeps going because he's got to show everybody, I feel bad or something. Who gives a shit if he feels bad?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's have some information. I think what was in question was while this was going on, he didn't stop. And I think that again comes to everything is about him at this point, even from what the words he was using. That really gets on my nerves, because if you watch somebody like Dave Grohl, if you go to a Foo Fighters show and a fight breaks out, he stops the damn show and he says, "Hey, asshole, let's quit it. Get this, you're out." And have you ever seen that video where he kicks the guy out? You got to watch that.
No.
Because he's watching the audience. He's watching the people there. He's paying attention to the crowd, what's going on, as an artist has to do. But this guy, it's all about him, and he's not paying attention out there. It's tough to see, a lot of lights and all that, but you still can see what's going on in the front few rows. In the front few rows, there were people hollering at him to stop because something was happening. If he says, "I always try to pay attention to my fans and all that," during the show, no, apparently, obviously he doesn't, because there are videos of people yelling, "Stop, people are dying," that kind of thing. And it doesn't stop. He's not listening. He's not paying attention to him. Maybe it was a part of a song that was really important to him or whatever. I don't know how long this went on, but his inability to communicate, one-on-one, I guess, with his audience, which is the key to that, for the longevity anyway. He's not doing it. He's not watching them. He's not doing it with them. He's doing it for him, and he's doing it and not paying attention to what's happening in the audience. Yeah. And I think that's why they think, since he kept going, they thought he didn't care or something. You can tell there's a lot of things on there that let you know that for sure he's stressed about it. We're seeing all kinds of stress cues. Rubbing his head. I think that's part of his show, part of it though too, because you don't see that very often. Somebody's rubbing their head. There are a couple people that I've seen in the past do that, but not over and over and over and closing your eyes and talking about yourself. He's getting apart. There's a lot of lawsuits that are in play.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So he's saying things to protect himself. Ahead of time.
What's the things he has to say to protect himself? Not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was saying, I didn't know it was, in other words, he was saying, I didn't know what was happening. I usually pay attention to what's going on in the audience, and for some reason I didn't know. And at the beginning it wasn't there, but if you listen to the very beginning, he talks about praying to the victims. It's like, we prayed.
What? Is that what he said? I missed that. He said he prayed.
He said, "I'm sending out prayers to the victims, or the prayers to the people who died," or whatever. So he doesn't say it in those words, but he says send out prayers to them. But he says it for them.
It's kind of like you make a prayer in somebody's name to Jesus, like donate to a charity on their behalf.
You're praying for them. Hey, God, or Jesus, shoot, man, please be these people. But it wasn't that. That's how I think disconnected he is from that, or from reality. Yeah. You're listening to Can't Get Right.